Hi, it's Rachel with Stirring the Deep. I am out here in this beautiful day on a walk with my husband, my wonderful husband, and we are just talking about different concepts that I wanted to share a couple with you. And we're talking about, in the previous videos, I've been talking about mercy, and as I'm learning about it, I'm realizing there's so much that people don't really know about the Father and who He really is. And if people can't understand some of these concepts like mercy, then certainly they don't understand the obedience, because you have to know God and know these characteristics in order to obey Him. And obedience is one of those words that often makes people cringe because it has so many bad associations around it, because you're normally doing something you don't want to do. It doesn't end up being something that really turns out that great for you. And one of those things is that the people that we've had to be obedient to didn't know true love. So we were hurt when we were in that obedience and when we obeyed them. So it is a very real thing that obedience has these negative connotations associated to them. But when you talk about obedience to a perfect, loving Father who wants the very best for you and wants to give you the desires of your heart, obedience is more like learning what your true desires are and then knowing how to attain them. And wisdom is also obedience, right? So because everything that God does is in pure wisdom. So you're walking in your life, when you walk in obedience, in the very wisdom of God, which is love. So what grows in your life is loving kindness, which creates an environment for other people that they respond differently to you. So you start creating peace. You become one of those peacemakers. And this is what happens when you start walking in obedience with God. Now, initially, it may be hard because you have to learn to trust God. And He will, as you listen to Him and as you tune into His counsel, there will be things you have to let go of. There's things that right now you know that you have to let go of. So, and it's those things that bring you shame, the things that keep coming to your mind that you think, I really shouldn't do that. You got to start listening to those, and what you do is you say, you know what, God, that keeps coming to my mind, and I'm going to stop doing that thing. And when you do that, you're offering up the sin offering to God, and He accepts that, okay? And when He does, what replaces it is He starts fulfilling the desires of your heart. Because you're doing those things because you think they're good, but the reason they're coming to mind like you shouldn't, because they're not good. They're creating the things that you hate in your life, actually. They create the torment or the depression or the overeating or the unhealthy lifestyle or whatever it is, the pains and the bad relationships. So as God points out those things that you're doing and you offer them up as that sin offering, He consumes it, and in its place comes a peace, a deeper love. So then, as that happens, and once you do that a couple times, you realize that obedience is actually living out your desires, like I said earlier. And another central aspect of obedience, why it's so important, because out of this pit and into the kingdom, it's a journey, it's a path. And it's like it's a ladder going from the pit into the light. And each rung is obedience. It's some act where you need to walk in God's will instead of in your own will and in your own way. You need to walk in His way instead of your own way. And as you do that, you are leaving the pit behind you. And so this obedience is a concept that people have all kinds of weird things with, but it is the very path out of the pit. And that's why it is so important to understand what that is and to know that it's really about loving God. Because if you love Him, you obey Him, but you want to obey Him because you abide in His love when you do. What you gain is more of who He is in your life. And again, that's His Spirit, which is that peace in your life and that love and the loving kindness and the wisdom that creates even more peace in your life. So the more you obey, the more wisdom you get, the more love that you get, so that just increases in your life. It's beautiful. The next time, keep stirring the deep. It's the one thing that changes everything else.